but I do recall the plot.
Hello and welcome to Zombies to Zoinks, the show where we talk about everything from a zombie outbreak to your Twinkie intake. I'm Trask.
I'm Daniel.
And I'm Stefan.
And it's time to talk nerdy. All right, how's everybody doing today? Stefan, how you feeling?
I'm great. I'm just kind of recovering from that amazing intro.
I want a Twinkie now.
Yeah,
so good. That's so good.
Cool. Daniel, how are you?
I want a Twinkie. That's what I'm on now. I was pleasantly surprised.
I was
by
really proud of that one, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So cool.
All right.
Cool.
Well, I'm very excited for this topic.
Yeah,
that
today
Trask
we're
has
gonna be
chosen for us.
We're gonna be talking about Zombieland.
Yeah.
I know this one kind of hits home for all of us.
I have no idea why you would say that.
I feel like this is something we can kind of chat a little bit about.
I don't even know what
It's just a tad.
What's our cover art even? Why
Yeah,
do we even
what's
look
up?
that way?
Well, so for those of you who may not know, the three of us met doing an event that was based heavily on Zombieland. And the cover
Quite
art,
so.
Yeah, the cover art that we have done, Daniel's girlfriend Lexi actually drew this for us, and it is renditions of our characters that we portrayed during this event. So I was kind of a security guard. Stefan was.
Keanu Reeves.
I
Keanu
turned
Reeves,
into
basically.
Keanu Reeves, but I found myself in the movie in the opening text crawl. That
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
You
that's
and
right.
Logan were both.
Is that we
that's
were,
right,
and it's
yeah.
that guy. He's got like a Tommy gun or a machine gun or something, and he's just going to town in an alleyway, and he's dressed like that.
He was I think he was one of the writers.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Is what I was reading up on it. Yeah, he was one of the writers that just did like a little cameo spot for it. And then Daniel was our very own him Jalpert,
yeah.
as we like to call him.
Yeah, I was a businessman zombie, very just generic, suit and tie sort of thing, and I looked like Jim Halpert from The Office, and I got called that way too much. People had way too much fun with that. I also got called principal. I got called senator. I got called teacher.
Did you get called daddy?
Yeah.
Yes. yes, it did. Yes, it happened.
Yeah.
That was a very defeated yes.
Yeah.
A couple times.
Well, I'm happy
a couple
to say-
times, and
I'm
yeah, I'm not even going to describe actually some of the things that the worst one. I'm not even going to say. I'm just going to say that
There's worse.
It's
but
too bad. It's too bad
okay.
for even this.
Yeah,
I had a wonderful time at least being alive. I enjoyed being one of the only living, and I had one night where I got to be dead, where I got to be a zombie.
Oh, that's right.
Only one night, but
Join us.
I know. Well,
Join
listen,
us.
I would
Let
have been
your
happy
fears
to play zombie the
devour.
rest of the run. But it was good.
There was a lot of people who said that, like
Yeah.
getting switched into other roles. They were like, "Man, this was great. I wish I could do that all the time."
That would have been a fun story. I liked though, because I didn't get to interact with you as much, Trask. It was only like going to and from a year set, but it was with Stefan. We had some fun. We had some fun
tussles.
stuff.
Yeah, it was good.
I would chase him.
We had a lot of friends that were out there with us.
Yeah.
If anybody who partook in this particular event is there, want to give us a shout out, feel free to comment, say hi, anything like that on the
please
Twitch
do.
stream. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love
Absolutely.
to chat back with you.
Absolutely.
Cool.
All right, so let's get started.
Let's get started. Yeah, we're going to start with our sorting session.
Yeah.
So we're going to take our
This is
characters
fun.
from Zombieland and sort them into their designated
And now
Hogwarts
I have a
houses.
question:
So,
Is this going to be Zombieland or Zombieland and Zombieland double tap?
I would like to focus primarily just on Zombieland.
Okay, gotcha.
I feel
So
like
the-
our set, as it was based heavily on Double Tap, or was announced to be part of Double Tap, but it did heavily
Heavily, for
feature
sure.
and focus on the first Zombieland movie.
Yeah.
So I think when we get to trailer chat at the end, we can talk a little bit about Zombieland 2.
Okay.
But I think for now, let's kind of focus on just the original
So
Zombieland
we
from
don't
2009.
we're not gonna
Yeah.
enjoy the so excited like whatever her name is.
Oh God, yeah. I don't remember their names except for Nevada. She's the only one.
What's up, Charlie?
Yo?
How you doing?
Charlie.
Charlie. He says hi.
Like-
well, he says he's here.
Charlie
but-
Chaplin.
Yeah, like the Charlie Chaplin. And thank you
The
for the
Charlie
thank you for
Chaplin.
the
Yeah.
follow, by the way, Charlie. We appreciate
Yeah,
it
Sweet.
so much.
We appreciate it. All right, guys. So let's start our sorting session. I think we should start with ladies first. So let's talk about Wichita.
Wichita.
yeah,
Now this is Emma Stone for people who don't. I feel like we're all very familiar with their names. Now, Trask, real quick, tell us why all of their names are like states and where they're from, pretty much. So why do they do that?
Yeah, all of them were actually capitals except for Little Rock, I believe. Little Rock was just like one of the most popular towns. So Wichita, or they used the names, or they never actually used any real names. Well, they gave one away at the end, but they used the capitals and cities and stuff like that to kind of alleviate from the personal aspect of it, which is what Tallahassee says in the beginning. He's like, look, no names, we're not going to do that. It was just, Columbus was trying to get to Columbus, so
Ohio,
that was kind of where that came from. Tallahassee was from Tallahassee. He wasn't necessarily going there as far as
So with
I
this
could
whole
tell.
Corona thing, remember where you're from, because that's going to be your new name.
Yes, pick your
Which
names.
actually some of us kind of did that from the stunt aspect of it. We all tried to call each other.
We did.
by-
Oh, really?
We did that too.
yeah,
in
we
our
did
chat.
have,
on the flip side,
Yeah.
we had our own chat. And we were all picking our. I think I was.
I forgot that.
Oh gosh, was I Dodge? I think because I was born really close to Dodge City, Kansas.
Gotcha.
I think that's.
I was
something like that.
Albany. I remember that.
Okay, yeah.
Oh.
Well,
man.
anyway, let's.
Chris, I can't remember what his Chris Cood. He had like the best one. I think it was Texas, and I cannot for the life of me remember what it was, but it was
Texas.
awesome. No, it was an awesome city, and I'm kicking myself for not being able to remember
to
it,
look
'cause
this up
we all
later.
called him that for 2 months. But
Yeah.
can't.
Okay.
If
so,
it comes to me, I'll. So yeah, let's
Sort
talk
of
about
Wichita.
Wichita. We're back
Yeah.
to Wichita.
Yes.
Okay, Daniel, I'd like to hear you first because I'm torn.
Okay, I'm not entirely torn.
Give me clarity. Give me clarity, Daniel.
Here we go. First instinct is Slytherin, and it's primarily because all of her drive is for her own. It's pretty much what she wants. Like, though she can be a team player, like, and she does. Throughout both movies, I'll say, because we'll talk about just her character. She does show that. Though she's afraid of personal attachments, and she does care for her sister more than anything, that is all for her kind of own gain. So, like, the reason why she kind of stays with the little pack is because that's what is in the best interest for her and her sister. Mm-hmm. And I think that kind of shows that sort of those Slytherin tendencies and I don't think, again, not a bad character whatsoever. Right. She's not evil. She's not malicious, but she's kind of that, like, I'm trying to think of like a D&D term, Stefan.
Like chaotic. She's chaotic good.
Chaotic good. There you go. That's what I was thinking. So, she's fine with, let's say, holding two people up at gunpoint and taking all of their stuff, but it's not because she's a wicked person. She's just doing what she needs to do for her and her sister to survive, and I believe that is why she is a Slytherin.
Right. I'm going to double down on that because I was torn between double tap. I'm gonna double tap down on it because I was torn between Gryffindor and Slytherin, but it makes more sense to me, especially since I'm remembering to, like, she's so prone to just picking up and leaving, and it's this self-preservation. It's a form of selfishness in a way that is like protecting her and her sister, who she's most loyal to, and that's kind of it. So I get everything that you were saying, and I'm in. I'm full in. Also, I'd like to say real quick, I'm convinced. I'd like to say real quick, thank you, just as to mention on the stream, thank you, Rachel Alexis, for giving us a follow. We appreciate it.
Oh, sweet, thank you. Yeah.
So what did you think, Trask, with Wichita?
Yeah, I would absolutely agree that she's a Slytherin. She's, like you said, everything that she's doing is kind of out of the benefit of, yes, her sister. So she has like that loyalty, that little bit of like the Hufflepuff tendency of just like the loyalty to it because they stick together. But, she is kind of cunning. That's what she's doing. Like you said, she had no problem holding them up at gunpoint and tricking them.
Yeah,
and,
not even holding up at gunpoint, but also creating that whole plan in the supermarket.
Yeah, the entire ruse.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we're all unanimous.
Absolutely agree on that.
I want to believe that Emma Stone is just a Slytherin though in real life. Like, I just think that Emma Stone is a Slytherin.
I don't know. I don't think she is. But that's a different topic.
That's a whole different topic.
Yeah, from like interviews and stuff that I've seen. I'm not sure I would put her in Slytherin.
That's fair.
Well, we can pin that one for later.
Emma Stone, if you're listening, tell us what Hogwarts house you're in.
Yeah.
We should tweet at her.
That would be hilarious. Yeah. All right, what do we got?
We do have a Twitter. Go follow us. We haven't done anything on it yet. We will though.
Yes.
Instagram's a little more active, so feel free to give us a follow there. Zombies to Zoinks on Instagram. Yeah. All right.
Nice
well,
one.
let's go on. Keeping with the ladies first. Little Rock. So how about Stefan? Why don't you go first on this one?
Oh, geez.
Oh, jeez, Rick.
Oh, jeez. I think it's hard to not put her in Slytherin right now because of this whole debate we have with Wichita. But no. See, because the second movie pervades my thoughts too much when it comes to. I was like, well,
yeah,
she's not a Hufflepuff. She. If anyone could be more Gryffindor to me, it would be.
I say Gryffindor.
It would be Little Rock because I think she like shares the Slytherin tendencies with her sister, but I think that she's more of a. I think the older she gets too, the more of a leader capability she'll show, the more courageous. Like,
right.
There's kind of a more daring, adventurous personality about her that I think grows to be community centric, which is less.
Yeah.
It's less like her sister, which like. And at the end of the day, even though she splits from the group at some point and goes to do her own thing, which I think can be a very Gryffindor trait too, there's like I don't think Wichita was ever about settling down, and that was a struggle for her, where I think Little Rock was looking for something to protect at the end of the day.
Yeah,
a family.
that's really
a family.
Well, yeah, and and the way I see it too is Wichita. Well, another thing we have to consider is that these people, I personally believe, are these these houses, regardless what situation they're put in, and I don't think that a certain scenario would change them. Would change their house. You know what I mean? So, but that being said, I was going to say, Wichita didn't have anyone to take care of her, but Little Rock did have someone to take care of her, and had that kind of. It eventually did get that sense of community with Columbus and Tallahassee, and what's his name, Berkeley. Eventually,
yeah.
But yeah. So I would say that she is a Gryffindor because of that adventurous spirit, and is a little more more energetic and go. Like she's willing to, she's willing to go and do a thing before thinking about it, where like Wichita would plan it out and then go do the thing.
Overanalyze
and I think
everything beforehand.
Yeah, and make sure that everything was saying, which is that's kind of your Slytherin Ravenclaw sort of trait. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think that she is a Gryffindor, and also I think Peyton is 100% the same character as Abigail Breslin. So I would say that our friend Peyton, who was hanging out with Lil Rock in our event, is probably a Gryffindor as well.
Oh yeah,
because they were the same person.
We may also be a little more biased on that kind of thing because we have these personal relationships with a lot of these characters.
That's fair.
Yeah,
rather than solely going off of just the movie. We kind of lived this life for about 2 months, and like you said, those personal relationships with our friends,
absolutely
may have skewed our judgment a little bit.
Yeah,
I think in a great way.
Yeah,
I think in the best way. Yeah.
All right, who's next?
Yeah. All right, let's go on to Columbus because I'm really anxious to.
I think I'm solid on what he is, but go for it.
Okay.
Dan.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm curious. Trask, I went first, then Stefan went. So let's hear what you got.
Okay, so I was a little bit torn on this one as well, but I would kind of vote for Slytherin for him.
Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. He was determined. He set his course of actions, like you were saying, the same way that Wichita would do. Is she was very planned about everything she was doing. He had his rules for survival, and while he may not have shown the kind of aggressive traits per se that one might associate with a Slytherin, he was very determined about a lot of his stuff. He was calculated. Not that he was the most cunning per se, but he definitely had his moments where I was like, man, this guy kind of knows what he's doing. He's seeing a big picture. He's seeing, all this stuff. And So I was torn between that as well as, if I'm being perfectly honest, Hufflepuff. He had that kind of loyalty to a fault.
Wow.
Okay.
He didn't necessarily trust people, but when it came to Wichita, he was like over and over and over again, and just like letting himself get hurt, and he just kind of had that studious, aspect to him. So
wait, he had what aspect to him?
Okay,
studious.
See,
because I was going to say I think he's a Ravenclaw.
Yeah, we're in the same boat.
Which would fall into that. Okay, yeah.
Is that where? Okay, I guess I was kind of. I had
you're seeing a different
book
side.
smart kind of.
Okay. No, that's okay.
Mistook for it.
That's okay.
Okay. Show your work on Ravenclaw.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's the defining trait for him is his rules. I think above else, his thing, whether it comes to his relationships and all those people, the two things with Columbus is his want to be in a family, because that is said, at least in the first one, that is like all what he is saying.
Right.
He's trying to get to his family in Columbus, Ohio. he eventually makes his family with this little group. However, how he does everything is based off of resourcefulness as well as knowledge base. So he literally has rules for everything, and these are all rules that he has done through trial and error and experimenting, and based off of his previous knowledge is how he kind of defines and sees the world. So in for him, I think one of the first scenes, like with the bathroom, he doesn't just see a bathroom, he sees an extremely vulnerable place, so he has to go and take care of all of these precautions, which he has systematically set up based off of trial and error. It's why he stories like this are based around extraordinary characters. Why are we following this character? And it's because he is the last person you would ever think to survive a zombie apocalypse, and the reason why he has is because he has these list of rules which is what makes it so entertaining. And I think that's where we get kind of our really. That's why I like the first. Let's say specifically the first movie so much is you have you have this unlikely character put into this unlikely situation. Like the last person you'd ever think you'd think Woody Harrelson, and they even say that in the thing. Woody Harrelson is who you in Tallahassee is who you think would be surviving a zombie apocalypse with the hat and the guns and like that, all of that.
You have a terrible talent.
And then you have this mild manner. Sure. Well, with all of his rules and stuff. So I think despite his lack of courageousness, it comes from his inability to jump into the fray or into the darkness, to go into the unknown. Shout out Frozen 2, I guess. His trepidation to go into the unknown is based from his prior knowledge, and that is why he's survived so long, and I think that's why he is a Ravenclaw.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
Stefan, where were you going with that?
Yeah. I'm curious if some of that matched up.
I think almost all of it matches up, except for one other thing that I was going to mention is I believe one of the defining traits of Ravenclaws can be wisdom. Yes.
Ravenclaw's
wisdom? Is that true?
Hunting rabbits.
Okay, so
I think
very quiet.
I think so, at least. And that's just, to me, going back to having the knowledge, applying the knowledge. It's experience-based. He learns from all of his mistakes or other people's mistakes, and is able to compile that into a cataloged knowledge base that is his codified rules of living now. Is how he kind of It's how he sees the world. It's also how we see the world, because he's our vehicle for storytelling.
He's our narrator.
Yeah. So we're forced to kind of see the world in these hilarious rules, which is why I loved that in our little area we included rules spread throughout the space.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It was just fun to see that, and because it always goes back to those rules. People be shouting at you on the street. They go, "What's rule number?"
Well,
14. And you're like, oh god. So
yeah, skillet.
Yes.
And part of as well, I'm thinking, what would Columbus be like outside of this extraordinary situation? I wouldn't be surprised if he had rules for a bunch of other stuff.
Probably.
Like, like out of a zombie,
just daily life before
how
the
to
apocalypse started.
I see him as a very socially awkward, shy character, and he's the type of person who needs to be like, okay, well, I need to not say this in this situation, or I'm going to look silly for here, or if I want a girl to notice me, I have to follow this rule and stuff. And I could see him like doing that, not in a zombie apocalypse, and then that kind of trait that he has is what leads him to survive.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
And again, it's that kind of like silly situation that
love it.
All right, so now Trask, you have
this one here. This one's close to me.
Your least favorite character out of all of them.
Yeah.
What do you have? It is, if you can tell, that's sarcasm.
Yeah. If you know, you know.
Yes.
All right. Let's talk Tallahassee. Yeah.
Bill Murray.
Or as Daniel likes to put, that's your impression.
He's making
That's
one of your Tallahassee impression.
Oh.
When you were doing that earlier.
Oh.
It's a callback.
Yeah, let's talk about Tallahassee.
Sounds like Sling Blade. French fries, baby.
Well,
I hate myself.
we love you, Daniel. I'm gonna jump. I'll jump on it real quick because
go for it. Go for it.
gosh,
Trask has to be last.
are we ever gonna disagree on this one though? I don't think so. Because is there anybody more Gryffindor than Tallahassee?
Okay, good.
Is
Yeah.
there anybody ever more Gryffindor?
Well, I think we're courageous, like sense of loyalty with his son, his why he's doing everything, his courageousness to jump into the fray, his action first, thought later.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, am I going to think about how I'm going to survive these zombies coming at me? No, I'm just going to kill these zombies and then think about how I'm going to survive.
The literal first time I ever watched the movie, I thought he was going to die. And I'm like, especially during that sequence where he's in the box unloading all the clips on the zombies that are rushing it and they're playing that music. I'm like, this is it. Tallahassee dies. What a sad ending to a funny movie. And he was fine. And I'm like, okay, all right. Well, badass strikes again, I guess. So I'm
glad none of them died, because I think whenever a character dies, I think that's the narrative kind of condemning a character for certain reasons.
Sure.
And especially at the end like that, or especially a character like that. And so I'm glad that they didn't, because it would have been just kind of, I think it would have been cheap to do.
It kind of would have, and it also doesn't seem like to be truly the point of the movie, because it's not about it's not really about surviving and staying alive so much as it is about the family dynamics.
Exactly, and that's what I think made talking about the original, because I have my thoughts on Double Tap, but as a film,
we'll get into that
later.
Yes. Trailer chat later.
But I think that's why this movie stands out as a zombie movie, because it's not your cliche zombie movie, especially for the time it was made. And those kind of survival horror comedies followed after this one. I'm trying to think. I guess you have like Shaun of the Dead.
Sure.
is kind of the closest thing you can compare it to as being a parody of the
zombie franchise,
the zombie tropes.
Yeah,
but it wasn't as the humor wasn't as dry as like Shaun of the Dead. It's definitely more, I want to say, almost slapstick
in a
because
weird way.
It's a lot of funny images. Yeah.
So Gryffindor.
Yeah, Gryffindor.
Okay. Yes.
All around. That's my boy. Sorry if I clipped on that one.
All right, and then you're good. You didn't.
Yeah.
All right, and then Bill Murray.
Yeah. Well, there really wasn't any other, too many other characters. Honestly, one of my favorite things about this movie is when you look at the credits, there are 7 characters that get like actual credit. It's the main 4.
Yeah.
Bill Murray as himself, 406, and Clown Zombie.
Yeah.
And those are the only like actual character. One could argue that they probably could have given the gas station guy one, because he had the opening scene as well as the big one with Wichita about The Rock. So I was, by The Rock I mean the fake diamond ring. I was a little confused as to why that character might not have gotten the credit.
Yeah.
But so there's
maybe that was maybe that was a writer again. Maybe it could have been one of those.
Writer,
producer.
I feel like
cameo?
I've seen him in other stuff, but
okay.
I can't remember off the top of my head. So one of my favorite things is 7 characters and then this full just like massive list of
500.
stunt performers.
Yeah.
And me, as a stunt performer myself, get very excited about seeing things like that because just seeing all the work that went into it, you know, it's a very stunt heavy movie. Well, the acting and the drama stuff did rely heavily on those four, you know, plus Bill Murray. You know, seeing all the stunt people that got involved in making that. Like, I have a friend of mine, she's a Marian that I work with at Indy, who was one of the stunt performers in that movie.
Oh, cool.
And it like makes me really happy to see you know, some stuff like that.
I was gonna say, actually, yeah, no, I had someone message me, an acquaintance I know, 'cause I do a lot of photography and Dapper Day stuff.
Right.
Someone I know from Dapper Day is actually married to Jesse Eisenberg's, I guess, like stunt double, who's done like almost like all of his movies. And
I feel like we talked about
I think
this
I
a
probably
little bit,
mentioned it to you, because I thought when she first messaged me, I thought it was one of our Columbus's, and I was like, oh, you know, that's so cool, I'll be sure. And I like mentioned it, and he was like I'm not married. And I was like, oh, okay, never mind. Yeah. And then she told me later that it was like the actual, and they met on the set of Zombieland.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. And I thought that was so neat because he was Jesse Eisenberg's stunt double, and she was bringing coffee or something to her roommate who was helping with like props or makeup or something. And I guess they ended up talking, but now they're married and have a little baby.
Aww.
They like just had a baby. Like, so
Love
but
that sweet zombie love.
exactly. All right, let's move on to fact check.
Let's go on to fact check. All right, you guys ready for this?
Yes,
Ready.
I'm so
Super
excited to see what you pulled out.
Oof.
So
Yeah, well, yeah, don't get too excited. You know,
no,
We're not
I
there
feel like
yet.
I didn't do very good at this last time I
no,
hosted.
you did
so.
what? You did great,
Yeah,
dude.
no, yours was fantastic.
All right, so for fact check, we like to think of this as our two truths and a lie, except we'll do 4 truths and a lie, make it a little more interesting. So, all right, let's go into fact number 1.
Okay.
The entire film was shot and wrapped in only 42 days.
That would be like a month and a half, right?
Yeah, give or take.
I'm going to say, I think that's a lie.
I think it's true.
I don't think
Okay, so you're gonna
so
peg
far,
this one
so far.
yeah, right out of the gate. You know.
Yeah, well, that's okay. You hold on to that.
Keep that one in the.
yeah.
We'll go through all
Yeah.
these and then we'll discuss them a little bit.
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
Well,
Keep
Let's see
thinking
what else
about it.
comes
Keep
up.
thinking about
Yeah.
it.
And-
Keep thinking about it.
Yeah.
I have my thoughts.
Although a majority of the film is set on the West Coast, it was filmed on the East Coast. The fictional Pacific Playland was actually Skyline Park in Atlanta, which is known for its retro boardwalk games and arcade.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
I want to say that sounds like something I heard.
It
actually.
does. Something I may have looked up during the run of what we were doing. So I think that's true.
Because I think it was Stephanie was from.
Yeah, the same town where that was modeled after.
No,
or
she was
filmed?
she was from Little Rock.
Okay.
That's where it was. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So,
And I'm trying to not to say last names here too. So
Yeah.
so we don't get any stalkers.
You're good. Yeah.
okay. So, fact number 3. Contrary to popular belief, the supermarket was actually a set piece built from scratch in order to save money. They even went as far as printing merchandise on paper in order to save money.
I could see that being true. This was a lower budget film.
It was, and I could not have seen them
Comparatively.
closing out a supermarket in order to trash it and then bring it back up to full.
That's I'm trying to think of that whole scene. We're talking about the banjo.
The banjo, the entire supermarket scene where
Yeah.
Getting the guy with
including the
garden
back
shears.
room.
just parts of it, you know.
Okay,
so like
okay.
the freezer section specifically was one of the things that they listed as they just kind of printed out a bunch of frozen foods and taped it to the inside of the freezer doors.
Okay.
I would say yes.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't put it past. That sounds like something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fact number 4. Shortly after filming concluded, Woody Harrelson attacked a TMZ photographer at LaGuardia Airport. Now, the renowned method actor, Harrelson, claims that he was still in the Tallahassee mindset and mistook the photographer for a zombie.
Oh no!
No. Yeah, no.
I'm gonna say false.
I gotta say false on that too.
I've
the other one seems more
heard of
believable than
actors doing stuff like this, but I
could see Woody Harrelson doing that, but I don't. It's the bit that gets me is him saying I thought he was a zombie. That's the bit I think is a lie. I'm trying not to read your
Yeah.
like. You have a good poker
I'm gonna
face,
say
but,
I'm gonna say that's false because of that detail too. Like, yeah, I wouldn't put it totally past Woody Harrelson. There's definitely, though, like, you know, there's some certain actors' names you throw up there and be like, oh yeah, well that's already happened before with them. But like,
yeah,
Woody, I've never actually heard of Woody Harrelson doing anything like this, and that bit just seems so far fetched to me. Because especially the nature of Zombieland, where like it's not like Walking Dead, where like the zombies are terrifying and the characters are always scared for their lives about something. It's a comedy, and
read the facts again.
Wait.
All of them or just that?
Sorry,
one?
just that one.
Okay,
just that one.
Just that one again. Shortly after filming concluded, Woody Harrelson attacked a TMZ photographer at LaGuardia Airport. The renowned method actor Harrelson claims that he was still in the Tallahassee mindset and mistook the photographer for a zombie.
Okay, so I also want to say that I don't recall Woody Harrelson being a method actor. I know that he does get very invested, but I don't think that he... well, no, I'm trying to... Oh, God.
Do you think he walked around barefoot a bunch and drank a lot when he was playing Hamish? And Hunger Games, like... He did
do that.
So I'm just trying to think. I think he is a method actor, but I think he attacked...
I'm thinking, too...
Here's where I think it's false. I think he attacked a photographer at LaGuardia. I think he did that. I think he may have cited that he was still in the Tallahassee mindset, but I don't think he mistook him as a zombie. I just think that he was hyped up and a little more gung-ho and angrier than he probably should have been in that situation and did something that he regretted. But I don't think it would have been like, you know?
Yeah, he is known for being kind of, I don't want to say like, hot-headed or something, or like able not even aggressive, but able to like jump into something really fast. There's a really infamous thing that happened with him on Reddit. It was a AMA, Ask Me Anything, that he did, and it's very infamous. He was like, it was a movie that he was doing, and it was an Ask Me Anything, and he started getting angry at people when they were asking him anything. Like even stupid questions or stuff, and he's saying like, this is supposed to be an interview for this movie I'm doing, and I just can't believe you're asking all these dumb questions, and it's like literally you are doing an AMA and Ask Me Anything. But that was that. Yeah, okay. I'm here. We got one more, right? One or two more?
Yes, one more.
One more. Okay, I'm curious.
All right. So
before I discuss,
in the original script, or from the original script, I guess would make more sense. Wichita is the only name that remained the same. Columbus was originally Flagstaff, Tallahassee was Albuquerque, and Little Rock was Stillwater.
Okay, I think this is true. I'm trying to remember because I remember the script was originally a pilot for a TV series, and I want to say, and they did make a pilot episode for Zombieland before it was this movie. However, I want to say that Tallahassee was the same.
Not Wichita.
So this one doesn't sound... Not Wichita. I remember, like, because I remember them calling... But I'm trying to remember if that pilot came out after the movie, because I think the history of it was supposed to be... Because that's what I mentioned this during the run, I think, to you guys when I found out, because I thought it was so cool. It was the zombie kill of the week was supposed to be per episode. Correct. So every new week, there was going to be a new episode with a zombie kill of the week.
Which is where
you got that from for the movie, yeah. So originally, I think it was supposed to be a TV series. No one would pick it up. They changed the script to a movie. They made the movie. It did really well. And then they shot a really cheap pilot as part of this, like, it was a thing for Amazon Prime, I think, where you could vote for one of 4 pilots, and depending on who won, then got the series on Amazon Prime. And Zombieland was one of them. But I think that came after the movie, so this could be true. Sorry, that was my whole thought process.
You're good.
So I think this one is true.
I think it's true as well. It sounds right to me, and also would be. It would ring more true to the second film as a callback to that kind of past, because of course we get Flagstaff and Albuquerque, and we don't get Stillwater at all, but we get that. We get a little tie-in for the jokes.
Yeah.
So
I could also this is comparatively to some of the other ones, so that this is generic and true sounding enough that I could see it being like, oh, this is the false one. But to me, this sounds accurate. So I'm still stuck between 1 and 4.
Okay.
I think.
Let me try and help you out. Let me try and help you out here, Daniel. Then.
Yeah. Sure.
So certain films, especially low budget ones.
Yeah.
In my experience, from what I've been able to read and witness and kind of research on, is that some of these can happen very quick.
They
the
can.
filming process
I mean,
of them.
Knives Out was 6 weeks.
Now that doesn't mean that the pre-production wasn't out the wazoo, especially since this movie only had a fairly limited script with a limited small cast. That means to me that all of the time is spent on pre-production, which is going to be scouting their locations, building all the set pieces, and training all the stunt people. And so
that's true. Yeah, I guess what I was thinking more of the second one, where you have a considerable amount more zombies than the first one.
Oh, sure.
Like the second one by far did not take 42 days.
No, I don't think so.
But with all of the CGI and the set pieces and everything they did for that, so I guess I'm thinking of those, and I guess I could see the final scene, spoiler, with the bit where they're on the
tower,
for
lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that
what did they call it? I'll look it up.
I don't remember. I do, however, I was going to say I just had a bit of information that came back to my mind. The one where it said that it was shot in Atlanta, I do believe it is true, because when I was looking for, I was trying to match audio up actually when I was doing the video of Tallahassee, Trask. When I was doing that, I was looking at other ones to make sure there was correct audio. And I believe in one of those, someone said, "Oh yeah, it was just a video someone took," and they're like, "Oh yeah, the actual one of this is in Atlanta." So I remember hearing that. So I think that one's true. The one saying it's in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah, but I could see this taking.
It's just filmed and wrapped.
If we're not,
it's not
Babylon. That's the name of the tower.
Okay.
Babylon.
Okay.
It's not the full.
Yeah. So
it's not the full like pre-production to post-production 42 days.
You're saying filming.
It's
right?
just filming. It's just they started filming and they wrapped it in like a month and a half. That sounds right.
I could say it's because I'm trying to think. The most amount of zombies you see at screen at one time is probably 30 at once in the first movie, which is probably the ending. So I could see that if they shot each zombie scene a day and a half, 2 days maybe, if they already had rehearsal. Yeah, okay. I'll say that one.
Stunt guys are gonna come in. They're gonna knock that out quick. They're already gonna have their stuff worked through, and especially if they've got
stunt people.
Especially if they got stunt doubles who are already working together a bunch. Then the main actors are not worrying about much except for their talky scenes. You know, like I imagine I imagine the Bill Murray stuff and the finale would have taken the most time.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So that's about it for me. I think that's true.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So I'm the one that's iffy on the Woody Harrelson's. I think he did it, but I don't think that was the reason why he did it.
Was that the fourth one?
Yes.
Yeah, I think number 4. That's where I'm gonna
go through them. Go through them again.
I'm gonna stay solid at 4 though.
Okay, so the entire film was shot and wrapped in only 42 days.
Okay.
Although a majority of the film is set on the West Coast, it was filmed on the East. The fictional Pacific Playland was actually Skyline Park in Atlanta, known for its retro boardwalk games and arcade. Number 3, contrary to popular belief, the supermarket was actually a set piece built from scratch in order to save money. They even went as far as printing merchandise on paper in order to save money.
Absolutely. I see. With that one as well, like imagine you're saying like with the freezer section,
yeah,
they're not going to buy chicken and keep that in a real actual freezer or something for 2 or 3 days in a So
especially they did it in 42
number
days.
4. Yeah. Number 4, shortly after filming concluded, Woody Harrelson attacked a TMZ photographer at LaGuardia Airport. The renowned method actor, Harrelson claims that he was still in the Tallahassee mindset and mistook the photographer for a zombie.
Watch the lie be that that actually happened, but it just wasn't TMZ.
No, I think the lie is it actually happened, but it wasn't related to Zombieland at all. I don't think it even happened shortly after filming. I think it just happened some point in Woody Harrelson's life. You're pulling one of these articles when he attacked a TMZ reporter, and it's not related to Zombieland at all.
I mean, to be fair, so far all of our fake ones, or all of our lies that we've done, have pretty much been like completely made up, rather than like taking an actual one and just like tweaking it a little bit.
Yeah, well, no. Yeah, remember that you tweaked yours where you like tripled the number once.
Created your own TV series.
Well, there's that too.
I didn't tweak any. That was a full lie from start to finish. I didn't tweak anything.
I thought you tripled a number somewhere on the first one.
Oh,
No.
the very first one. No, Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like
The amount
the amount of monsters.
The amount of monsters caught was triple.
Okay, you got me.
I
You
think,
got
and
me.
mine was
All right.
tweaked
I'm a
too.
hypocrite.
Mine was a tweaked. My Mandalorian one was tweaked
Okay.
as well. So.
I think we both say 4 then.
And then number 5 was in the original script. Wichita was the only name that remained the same. Columbus
Yeah.
was Flagstaff, Tallahassee was Albuquerque, and Little Rock was Stillwater.
That's believable.
All right, so number 1, the entire film was shot and wrapped in only 42 days. That is, in fact, true.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Stefan.
Real quick, yeah. Although a majority of the film is set on the East Coast, or it was set on the West Coast, it was filmed in the East. Pacific Playland was actually Skyline Park in Atlanta, known for its retro boardwalk games and arcade. This is false.
Oh,
The actual park they used was Wild Adventures theme park.
Oh, that was it.
Yep.
Oh,
Because they call it
that's the park
Wayland's-
that the guy said.
In fact, they actually reference several times as part of their advertising that this is where they filmed Zombieland. So you can see a lot of those set pieces there.
We've been doped.
We lost.
We've
That
been-
means Woody Harrelson.
So
He did it.
So here's the other thing, though, is while all this was going on, I was kind of looking up some of this stuff about the attack of the TMZ reporter.
Okay.
I found 4 sources that all cited that this happened after Zombieland. And then I started finding more sources that said it happened in 2006 as well as 2008, which would have been pre-Zombieland, saying
Yeah.
that he did attack a TMZ reporter outside of a nightclub. So, like you guys were saying, this is kind of one of those true facts that maybe got warped a little bit. The original information that I found all said that it happened after Zombieland, and one of the first articles, which was a CNN article, actually states his quote saying, I was in the Tallahassee mindset. Let me see if I can pull this back up. Yeah, from CNN, this actually says Harrelson's quote was, "I quite understandably mistook the photographer for a zombie."
Yeah. Okay.
And
Quite
then the very next
understandably.
article, and then the very next article underneath it is from 2006, saying that he hit a cameraman on choked TMZ cameraman Josh Levine. But that's back in 2006, and then another
just
one that
hates
says
TMZ.
2008. So I
thought
this one was totally true.
No, it's
You
okay. Maybe it's just
guys
a
are making
reoccurring
me-
habit he's got. And
Okay. Well, I mean,
So.
I enjoy Woody Harrelson I enjoy his performances.
Yeah.
I enjoy his advocacy for saving the planet and stuff. He had a nice little PSA where he was like, "Hey, stop using bleach on everything because you don't need to." And I was like, I appreciate that. But I know that he's done some weird stuff in the past, and I think I can use this because we do have a lot of time left. I could use this. I want to use this a little bit to talk about improvisational acting, both on stage and, or not improvisational. My apologies. Method acting on stage and in film, and how dangerous it can be, and we should not herald people in high regard who method act that result in people being disturbed or harmed.
Yeah.
As much as I like Christian Bale, Jared Leto, Woody Harrelson, and I enjoyed those performances, if you were doing anything as part of your method with quotation marks to help you get into character with quotation marks that results in people being harmed or put in, uncomfortable situations, I do not think that is a good thing, and I do not think it is moral or just, and I do not think it is a good thing as part of any art form whatsoever. Yeah. Because there's been too many times where people say, or even, I'll say, Joaquin Phoenix for Joker. There was some stuff that came out after I said, wow, I was like, thank you, you're able to be the Joker or do a movie like this without sending used condoms to your cast members, Jared Leto. But I found out that some of the fight scenes, they were like, hey, he might just start hitting you, or he might just like go too far. And I was like, when I found that out, I was like, no, that's called being a jerk.
Yeah.
That is not
okay.
professional. That I do not think that Harold, like the part that is, sorry, I'm very vocal and passionate about this. The part that makes a performance the most compelling as well as the most impressive comes from the ability to act and pretend in a convincing manner. If you're actually trying to hurt someone or hit someone because you are in character, I think that is morally unjust and unethical.
Yeah, it's also
sorry. I just had to say that.
I'm on a lot of stunt forums that were articles were posting to stunt performers about this, be like, it was a nightmare on set, and I think while there are some bad examples of method acting, I think there are some fantastic examples. Daniel Day-Lewis. Anything I think that he's done has been fantastic. Gangs in New York is one of my favorite things. So Bill the Butcher I've inspired characters that I've done from other shows off of that, and I feel like there are ways to do it good, correctly, like Daniel Day-Lewis does, but there are definitely ways to do it
if
wrong.
it is a personal thing for your thing, I think it's even fine if you can say, hi, can you please, while we are filming, can you refer to me as the character's name on set? If you ask respectfully and kindly to everyone, that's totally fine. But if someone, if a gaffer or something in passing calls you by a different name and you flip out on them, or even Christian Bale in his infamous, I don't know if you've seen this, his Terminator Genesis audio.
Thing,
yeah, there's a guy who was, I don't even know if they were shooting or something, but it was like a lighting person or a boom operator or something, or something like that, and kind of like was moving in his field of vision while they were recording, and it's just audio of Christian Bale flipping out on this guy that he's saying that he's like, we're never working together again, this is so unprofessional, blah blah blah. And it's like, dude, it's like, come on. And he then came out and said, I said all of these bad things because I was in character. And it's like, okay, you were still being a jerk. You are not that character. You are not John Connor or whomever.
And
so
that's the biggest thing. It doesn't, the method acting aspect should never excuse a person's professionalism or actions at all, because that you get a free pass.
You can get
doing things that aren't okay.
Exactly. If, let's say you're because this is a story that I heard about in a professional theater setting. If someone is supposed to have, let's say, a male character is supposed to touch a woman's breast or something. This is an actual story. I'm using it as an example. And slowly it started going away from their original choreography into something more, into stuff under a shirt. And once it is brought up saying, hey, don't do this, he's like, oh, well, I was just in character.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in character, not following our choreography. That's not cool. So
yeah.
Anyway, I'm just very passionate and vocal about that.
I get
Stay
you.
safe. If you see anyone out there, if you see anything like that happening, if you're working on a film set or on a stage, tell someone, because that is not okay.
No,
Sorry. All right. For our last 12 minutes, let's move. Let's move on, Trask.
I was just gonna say real quick. I feel like I would love to do a behind the Zoinks or something like that about this, because I think it's a great topic.
Safety and entertainment. Yeah.
Like it. But let's move on to trailer chat.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about so for trailer chat, obviously, our set was for the show that we were doing was so heavily based on Zombieland Double Tap. So I'd love to get your guys' feeling on that.
I didn't like it.
Yeah,
the film
liked it a lot. So this is gonna be great.
Okay. Stefan, why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about it first? Then.
Okay. All right. Well,
start out.
I'll jump on the positive bandwagon here. A couple things. One, I will not disregard that the manner in which I saw the film was probably the best way to see the film, which is surrounded by a bunch of not just surrounded by a bunch of friends, but like literally in a theater full of people excited to see the film. I don't think you went,
because you went with the
I went with the cast. I went with the whole group. Okay. We all showed up. I dressed as shoot, I can't remember his name right now with the weed. Berkeley, thank you. I dressed up as
well, it makes sense because
I had the long hair and I had the beard and stuff, so I dressed up as Berkeley, and I was pretty convincing, and I had an outfit for it, and I had a bag of
oregano.
I had a bag of marijuana. No, I had a bag of popcorn that was green. It was green popcorn.
Okay, that's funny.
Yeah, and
continue.
I was gonna say, no, it was great, and everyone that was there had a lovely time, and it was like everyone was cheering and shouting and laughing, and like all these inside jokes were flying. It was a great environment. Now, second thing about the film, It is more or less a continuation to me of the first. It just kind of picks up and rolls with it. And unless you have seen the first film and appreciate it, you will not enjoy the second film at all. Because the second film is not... it develops the characters to a certain extent, but it's built so heavily upon the foundations of the first film that it can't... I don't think it could bring on new fans, truly.
See, that's... And I'm going to put a pin real quick because that's where I disagree, and that's why I didn't enjoy it. I think that it completely disregarded the character development that was established in the first one. But I'll let you finish.
Okay.
I just want to put a pin there.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to hear the rest of you.
I'm curious to see where our difference is. The other thing was, I appreciated that the biggest focus of their trailer draw was actually not the point of the movie, which I liked because I was a bit worried about the film because of these new characters. When you watch the second film, it's not about the new characters at all. I think Berkeley gets the most screen time. Albuquerque and Flagstaff are literally they are that scene. That is it. That is their scene. And then with the we get what's her face, the pink girl.
Oh
gosh, so excited!
I don't remember. And like she was.
I'll look it up.
She was what I think she was what she needed to be for what she was, which was okay. Like it was funny to have her in the film, but I'm also glad that again she wasn't. The new people weren't the focus. It was still once again, to me, about continuing the family dynamics.
Madison.
There we go. And we get this expansion of the world. We do get a what starts as the play off of Wichita, which is Nevada, but then Nevada gets to be her own character and then joins the cast. And I'm like, that's cool. I like Nevada. Now, I don't think the finale was nearly as good as the first film's finale.
Okay.
I wasn't a huge fan of the whole monster. I know they were trying to find a way to top themselves, but I don't think it played because it didn't play emotionally to me. And the first film played more emotional. I feel like there was more at stake and more to overcome as a group. Like there was a greater barrier, and it was about Columbus. I think okay. So there's my only. Yeah. I'll end my point with this. Yeah. My only gripe is that the first film focused heavily on the family dynamics through the eyes of Columbus, which made the story very grounded despite it being so wacky. The second film, to me, wasn't as grounded and wasn't as good because it didn't focus solely through Columbus, but tried to tell the story through everyone's eyes a bit. It broadened the scope of the family, and I feel like we didn't have a true footing. So seeing the world through Tallahassee, seeing it through Wichita, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So I always want to begin with when I dislike a movie that someone did like is by no way do I ever want to say like, oh, if you liked this movie and I think it's bad, then you're dumb and you don't have to. No, I don't want to ever ruin someone's enjoyment of the film or like someone's memory and stuff.
That's good.
So I saw it. I think it was the weekend before with. So I don't like huge, large gatherings too much. So I decided to go with a couple of other people. I think to the premiere. So it was like maybe 5 to 7 of us who didn't go then to the big group.
Yeah, I remember that.
To the first day. So that was a good group. So the reasons why I did not like it was I did not like it as a sequel to the movie Zombieland. So Zombieland, I think at its heart was very groundbreaking for its approach to the zombie genre, as well as how it focuses on its characters and its characters' growth. It can be a little predictable at times, but I think each character has a full arc that they're in one place at the beginning of the movie, and they're at a completely different point at the end because of their journey and what they learned. And I think they're not at their final kind of state by the end, but they're all on their way, which is what I think let it be, such a fun ending was you don't know what's coming next for these people. You could have left it alone. Now, the sequel came 10 years after the original, and the reason why they didn't make it was because they were afraid of all the Marvel superhero expanding universe that it would get lost in that draw, and they waited for all of that to be over before they made the sequel.
Well, a lot of the directors were going off to doing other projects
exactly.
too.
Yes.
So
yes.
it was a massive scheduling conflict as well as the actors.
Wasn't it
Yeah, and
also
they did-
though?
and-
I thought the actors said in a couple interviews that almost every year or every other year, the writers would throw them scripts, and they were never super happy with them.
I don't know that.
Not to say that it
fact.
didn't
Yeah,
happen,
it
but I
sounds
haven't
like it
heard
could.
about that
Yeah.
either.
There was
Very
one
possible it could.
interview.
That sounds like it would happen.
Yeah, there was one interview they had where they kept reading these new iterations, and it took 10 years before they said, "Oh, 10-year later script makes sense now, and this feels like it'd be right."
Well, one of the things that I had seen was they wanted to do like a continuation right where the first Zombieland left off, but
it took
after
too
10
long.
years, Abigail Breslin looked nothing like
Yes.
what she did. So they
Well,
were kind of forced to do the down the road story.
Well, I have no problem with the 10 years later. Like, I think that I thought was fine. I thought they handled that very, very well. The thing that I didn't like was that the character growth that we saw, and granted, they obviously did have more adventures, but they were almost completely different people than the ones that we left off with. And which is fine. We can see, different things can happen in 10 years, but it felt like they were brand new. My examples being Woody Harrelson's, admiration for Abigail Breslin. He thinks of her as his daughter, pretty much, and that's why he cares so much about her. However, we didn't see anything regarding that in the first one, at all. The whole point of the first one was Columbus and Wichita to get together, and then at the very start of this one, they're splitting up. So I get that as the driving force towards your narrative, but I don't think it is as compelling as if we saw a further expansion to where they could go, or even being put in more either dangerous situations. And I get the bringing in new characters, but I don't think those characters had a chance to fully grow as characters like we saw those original ones be.
Sure.
Now, on top of that, the thing that I appreciated the most was all of the stunt work. I think the one fight where it looks like it's one shot was immaculate. I thought it was beautiful in the house.
Oh, I loved that sequence. Yeah,
stellar. And I think everyone involved did a great job. But it was the narrative and how it was presented that I thought was very, very lackluster. And it seemed like they were trying to sell a sequel rather than continue a narrative, which the first one did very, very well.
Yeah. I want to add on to that. Like you were talking about some of the character developments that they had.
Yeah.
Me personally, I have a very close connection with Tallahassee, and I, really enjoyed how he was portrayed in the first movie. I was not a big fan of how he was played in the second movie. He was not the, the tough guy, the butt kicker. He wasn't that kind of person anymore. He was, like you said, he was very much the father figure to Little Rock, and I didn't kind of like how they toned him down a bit.
Yeah. I would have liked to have seen him be like, I'm going to go in, wherever she is, I'm going to go in guns a-blazing and kick someone's ass and, to get her back or to make sure that she's, safe or what have you. But it was very much like, well, I don't want her to go.
Yeah. And the other thing that I was fearful of, for lack of a better word, was this movie came out kind of 2/3 of the way through our run, and I got thinking, like you said, if anybody's not going to make it out of the movie, it would have been Tallahassee. He would be the guy who would make the sacrifice play
with the big bull running thing. At
Once again, they teased us with
they referenced that a little bit, and I was nervous. I was really nervous going in, and I had a much different movie viewing experience than you guys did, because Daniel went with 5 to 7 people, and Stefan went with almost the entire cast. I went by myself.
What?
And watched it. Yeah. Well, I think the giant cast viewing of it was like a week after it came out, and I didn't want to wait too long.
That's part of the reason why I wanted to see it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I ended up I was supposed to go, I think, the day after, but I ended up picking up morning shifts both of those days.
I remember you were working the when we had our small little group, because I remember asking you.
Yeah. I was worried that Tallahassee wasn't going to make it out of the movie, and then if I had to portray or be involved with a character that wasn't alive at that point, it would have been tough.
Awkward.
So I was real nervous about
it's like
that.
Playing It's like playing Santa after Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my biggest thing, I will say, primarily was the third act of the film, which I want to say someone told me that they had to like redo or re-edit or shoot, like they were like making changes in the third act. Really like they were crunching for it to make it work because there were some other things involved, because I thought the third act was way too fast paced, a lot of inconsistencies with the with cuts and how certain things, like it felt like it was just very passable, and I'm always, whenever that happens, I can totally understand where studio problems come in and producers, and something's not working and they have to make it passable to get it out, but I don't think that I don't always can give something a pass for that.
Sure. And
I still did not think it was the best sequel or narrative that Zombieland 2 could have had.
I will agree with that.
I did not think it was executed well. That was my
okay.
So that's my thing.
Yeah. There was one other thing, one last point that I want to talk about before we kind of wrap this up. I feel like the movie itself lacked a fun understory.
Yeah.
The very first movie focused so much on Tallahassee trying to get a Twinkie.
Yeah.
And there was no fun.
I think they tried the Elvis
fun story. For me, I think the only thing that kind of lasted the entire movie was him pissed about the minivans.
That too.
Like
that too.
He just wanted a cool car.
Yeah.
And that was the only little like fun thing that he was kind of known for. And the first movie was so heavily funded by Hostess, which is why they focused so much on it. And the second movie had no funding, and the only reference was the little Twinkie on the front of the car.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, I think in my thing as well, going off of what you just said, in the first one, everyone has a very distinct A to B, and you can't really say that in the second one. So, like, Columbus wants to get to Ohio and find his family, and finds a new family on the way. Tallahassee wants to, I guess, find a Twinkie. That's the really the thing. It's the little things. Abigail Breslin and Emma Stone, they want to protect one another and see if they can find. They want to get to Pacific Playland. Yeah, exactly. They all have that very distinct. This is our journey. Here's our unlikely group of heroes all coming together, and because they're all different, is how they're able to survive and succeed. In the second one, what does Columbus want to do?
Columbus is figuring out the relationship with Wichita. He's trying to propose the whole time, isn't he?
He is, but then you have the whole thing with Madison that gets in there, and it's kind of like, okay, does he want to? Is he
trying to move on?
It's muddy. It's muddy. It's not a clear thing. Tallahassee wants to do his zombie kill of the year. He wants to save Abigail He wants to get her back because he doesn't like Berkeley. It's what does he want to do? It's muddy. What does Emma Stone want to do? She leaves and kind of comes back, and then what does she wants to find her sister. Again, it's kind of muddy. Okay. Abigail Breslin wants to go with so that's kind of where my thing is, and why I think it's not.
That's a good point.
Not the best. I had fun watching it,
but you know what?
I definitely enjoyed.
You know what's worth it though. Regardless, both films is the Bill Murray cameo.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And that Bill Murray scene to me made up for all of it. So I'd say check that out. Yeah, check that out if you guys at least haven't seen the second film. At least watch on YouTube that Bill Murray clip.
All right. So I think we'll say Stefan is hosting next week, though.
I think we're gonna kind of keep that rotation.
Works for me.
All right. Well, I think that's just about all the time that we have today. We want to thank all of you for listening in. Please feel free to give us a like on Instagram.
This was fun. I was looking forward to this one.
We're getting started on our Facebook page, stuff like that. So any support at all is tremendous, and we thank you guys for tuning in and listening. Next week, Stefan, like we said, is hosting. So if you guys want to submit a potential topic or ask us a question, feel free to.
I want to submit Ghostbusters.
Oh, okay. I'll add that to our list. Yeah. If you guys want to submit, feel free to send us an email, zombies2zoinks@gmail.com. You can also reach out to us on our Facebook, our Instagram, any of those social media.
Go look at our link tree. Go visit all those.
Check out the link tree. You can listen to former podcasts that we have done on our YouTube, as well as Sounder, Spotify, or other podcast sources. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. We appreciate all you. Until then.
Bye-bye.
This is Trask, Stefan, and Daniel signing off from Zombieland.
Yeah.
And I'm the Chris, I doing the job. It makes me feel like I'm ruined.